as well. In the top right, spawning as the blue Protoss player is Whitera, playing for TT Esports, I believe. And in the bottom left, we've got the red Zerg player, formerly playing for MTW, still has the MTW in front of his name on the Heart of the Swarm beta, but he doesn't play for them anymore. He's currently a free agent. He could look so nicely in joining TT Esports, as in join Whitera as the second member of the TT Esports international team. They're from the same country. They love each other. They practice with each other. They would fit well together.
I think that's a good point to make. I do indeed. Now, for anyone just joining us, of course, this is the ESET UK Masters, and it is a Heart of the Swarm show match, best of 9. And so far, game 1 has gone to Dimaga, so he's 1-0 up. Whitera, he tried to go mass void ray. He did some good harassment. He managed to snipe off a hive and a recall. He got the Oracle down as well, and obviously his signature Oracle harassment opening didn't really work out. Dimaga dealt with it well, and it was kind of quite similar to the Alienware Arena show match they played on Heart of the Swarm in December, where Dimaga actually took that 3-1. So it's something to be thinking about. The Whitera does have the pressure, knowing that Dimaga's really good, and he's actually put in an awful lot of practice today. Us were watching his stream for quite a long period of time, but he was streaming for at least 6-7 hours.
Yeah, he was streaming 6. Yeah, actually, it could be. I think he started streaming around 2 or 3 in the afternoon. So yeah, I think you're right. I think he streamed for about 6 hours, so got a lot of Heart of the Swarm practice in. Someone in chat was asking, is Whitera associated with any team? Yes, he is associated with any team, but it's not a normal team, as in Team Liquid or EG or Incredible Miracle is a normal team. TT Esports basically has an Italian division, I believe, that they have a few players playing for them, and they have Whitera as their big international players, but I believe he doesn't really have that many practice partners in his TT Esports team, so that's why it's considered a bit of a different situation.
It is indeed. There's some great knowledge bombs there, Nolium. It is indeed one of those different teams, and of course a practice partner is one of the big things that a team gives you, and it's not all about the money, the salary, or anything like that. It does have a lot to the environment join as well. It's why having a team house is also really great, because it's a dedicated environment, and the closer you get to that kind of really focused situation, and the better you're going to play. So that is one of the issues facing Whitera. But of course, he plays so much anyway. He streams loads. I watched his stream. He was practicing against Idra, actually, a few days ago, as I mentioned in the first game, in order to prepare for this. So I watched a lot of that. It was really, really interesting. And one of the things I found from that is Whitera, when he goes for that Oracle harassment, takes a third base really quickly, usually around the 7-minute mark. And that is exceptionally vulnerable, actually, to early speedling aggression. And Whitera was specifically working on how to deal with that early aggression. So I'll be interested to see whether Dimaga tries to execute that, tries to knock Whitera off his course there. But we'll wait and see what's in store. So far, everything looking fairly standard to me on Dimaga's side. Third base up at a normal timing. For Whitera, everything looking the same. And I think we'll see that happen throughout this best of 9.
Yeah, so far, this is Wings of Liberty we're watching right now. The only thing tipping away that this is not Wings of Liberty is that we can click on the hatchery in the top left on the production tab, and it will take us to that hatchery. And we're like, wow, that's cool. And it also has some new graphic effects and some physics that are not present in Wings of Liberty. But so far, it's looking pretty normal. It's pretty Wings of Liberty so far, apart from the Mothership Core, of course, coming out of the natural expansion of Whitera right now. Going to be choosing to spend his first gas on a Stalker and then start the Mothership Core and Corona boost that out ASAP. And he might be able to kill this Overlord. Nah, I think it's going to get away.
It should be able to get away. Of course, the one thing to note is that I was hoping to say before it actually completed, but the Mothership Core coming out straight away meant that there wasn't going to be a Stargate. And whenever you go Stargate for Oracle Harass, you get the Stargate out before starting the Mothership Core because of the gas cost there. Instead, Whitera is going to be going for the Twilight Council. So this is a bit more of a conventional build. He's going to be able to put on some more early pressure, probably focusing around the third base of Dimaga. Of course, Cloud Kingdom is one of those maps where it is very easy to deal a lot of damage to a Zerg there if they're not prepared for it. So hoping to see that. But I like the way this Mothership Core was used to force back the Scouting Overlord. But the other thing I'm noticing is that the DT Shrine has just got started. So, of course, cheaper now in Heart of the Swarm, so that allows you to put on a bit of extra aggression. So maybe we'll see DTs, maybe we'll just see some Archons.
I think it's going to be a DT pressure into expanding into a third. That's what I'm expecting so far. I think White Rat is going to drop down 2, 3 extra gateways and then expand. He has dropped 2 of them right now, so 3 gateways is a good number to be at. Warp in 3 DTs, expand, get a few cannons, get a robo, maybe even get a Stargate, but I don't think that's a very likely option right now. He's going to stick to 4 gateways, which is a good amount to be expanding to a third base too. We see one of his scouting stalkers is going to be scooting around, sees the third base is up for the first time, sees there's 2 queens there, and he also sees there's no spore crawlers present yet. Of course, it no longer takes evolution chambers to build spore crawlers. And even though Dimaga does have a few of those evolution chambers already down, he could have started spore crawlers earlier. That's just something I wanted to let people know, because that's one of the changes that we currently have in the Heart of the Swarm beta.
Yeah, those spore crawlers, well, there aren't any even down yet, so there's not going to be any detection, as you quite rightly say, which could run into some problems, especially with these DTs warping in, and quite a big commitment to DTs. Actually getting 3 of them down is a bit of a risk, especially when it would be quite likely for Dimaga to take those spores if he thought Oracle Harass was coming in, but instead he chose to go for a lot of queens, and as we see, there is the layer done, so we can get an overseer at some point, but a lot of drones are going to go down here, in my opinion, Lillian.
In my opinion too, and these DTs are thinking the same thing. A lot of drones are going to die, and we're going to make sure that happens. Looks like they're going to focus down the Baning Nest, and then they might even still have enough... No, they're not going to have enough time to work away at the hatchery, I don't think. How many queens do we have out on the field? 5 of them now marching towards the third base. Are they going to be able to kill the DTs in time? It's going to be really, really close. Queens, of course, not the highest DPS units in the game. Transfuses, though, that is something they have plenty of. There is another transfuse in the store on these queens, and the DTs are not going to be able to get the hatchery down. Nice defense there by Dimaga. Even though he didn't see it coming, he still defended perfectly.
I think those transfuses, I could see those coming. It was really one of the advantages of going for a lot of queens is you've got those transfuse there. Waiwa, he's following up with the 2 Stargates, so he is going to be going into air toss. So Dimaga's plan of getting up this Hydra Den we're seeing complete now, absolutely great. Going Roach Hydra is going to be very strong, ultimately due to the fact that it's going to be against air and gateway units, which it crushes. The only thing you really have to worry about if you do go for a lot of Hydras is, of course, Colossi, because of their splash damage, and also Storms, just because Hydras, still in Heart of the Swarm, although a lot quicker, are very squishy. But what is quite interesting from Wairachi, he's getting the from Dimaga rather, is he's getting up the Groove Spine before the speed upgrade. The benefit of that is obviously defensively. If you've got air incoming, you're going to be able to deal with it a lot better because, of course, Hydras are still fast on creep. But it means that you're not going to be able to be as aggressive for so long. And it's one of those minor things that if Waira picks up on that, he could try risking taking his 4th base a little bit sooner.
Yeah, there's no way for him to pick up on that other than, you know, seeing it actually on the Hydras. There's no way for White Rat to know what upgrade is researching on the Hydralisk Den right now, but he will see the increased range on the Hydras, and he will know that there's going to be a defensive posture that Dimaga is going to be taking, especially for us observers. When you see the Hydralisk Groove Spine upgrade go down, you're like, okay, well, he's going to be defensive for a little while. He's not going to be attacking super quickly because they're still going to be, the Hydras are still going to be slow off creep, and slow is bad, so he's not going to be attacking with them. Talk about attacking, Dimaga does have a bit of an aggressive stance here with a group of Zerglings, but of course he's going to be able to do nothing against an army of a lot of Zealots and Archons.
Indeed he is, and we do have already 3 or 4th Oracle on its way out, so Waiwa is going to be committing to this sort of mid-game Oracle harassment, which I saw him do on his, I believe it was in the last actual show match they played against each other at the Alienware Arena, where he managed to do an incredible amount of damage there and actually subsequently went on to win the game with this 4 Oracles in the mid-game. So this is a very strong strategy in itself, with the Archons, with the Zealots, with the Oracles, and as we're seeing now, pushing straight in, the Oracles melting though to those Hydra, Zerglings streaming in from behind, and this is getting shut down very nicely indeed. There goes the recall, perhaps slightly late, but Waiwa does manage to get out with quite a few of his units still remaining, although 3 of those Oracles did die in that engagement, which is very costly.
And not to mention all the Archons. That was an absolute train wreck for White Rat, not being able to do any kind of damage there. Dimaga now is super far ahead. He's got his 4th base up, not quite running yet, but he will be taking the gases and saturating that pretty soon. He's gonna be in such a good position right now. White Rat only 106 supply. His standing army right now is 8 Zealots, 1 Archon, 1 Oracle, and 1 Mothership Core. So very, very small army, and he doesn't have that splash damage he needs to deal with the big Roach Hydra ball. Hydra is in such a difficult position right now. He cannot push from his natural towards his third base, neither can he push to the other way. He needs his cannons to help his defense, but even with the cannons, it's going to be near impossible to pull off.
It is. We see now Photon Overcharge going down on that Nexus. Every last-ditch hope trying to hold off his force. But Dimaga, he has over double the army supply of his opponent. We've got Probes getting pulled, getting on this fight. Zealots coming in. But Zealots against Hydra Roach is not going to go too well. The Burrow, Unburrow Micro is on its way. The 2 Voidways trying to do some damage as quickly as they can. But Waiwu are forced to GG out. And Dimaga takes game 2. And therefore a 2-0 lead. Very, very